Okay, so here's an example of a spreadsheet. Okay, so let's say we've got this expenses. So let's say you're part of this company and you've got these different expenses, right? And so here are the categories of expenses. So you've got salaries, rent, depreciation, utilities and phone, taxes and insurance, advertising, purchases, and other. Okay, and then you've got the total amount. And so this is the budgeted amount for each one of those. Okay, and these are all in dollars. Okay, and so what we want to do is, and we've got the percent of the total budget. So what percent? This column is going to contain the percent that each one of these categories makes up of the total budget. Okay, of all the expenses. Okay, so in other words, what percent of the total budget does salaries make up? Okay, what percent of the total budget does rent make up? Okay, and so on and so forth. So we're going to use formulas to fill out the rest of this table using Excel. Okay, we're not going to use your calculator. We're going to use Excel. Okay, or at least for the purposes of knowing what to do in Excel. Okay, so again, let's say that we've got this. Okay, so let's say it's all in these columns. So we got A, B, and C in Excel. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so we'll need to know those for our addresses for each cell. So what we want to do is we want to fill in all of the cells, right, with the correct information. Okay, and so let's do that. So now how do we, first of all, in order to do this, we need the total. So how do we get the total? Well, the total is going to be the sum of all of these cells here. Okay? So how do we get that sum? Well, what we're going to do is do the exact same thing that we did before in the previous video. So I'm going to make this this B11, right? So I'm going to define B11, is equal to what? B3 plus B4 all the way down to B10. So I'm going to have B3 plus B4 plus B5 plus B6 plus B7 plus B8 plus B9 plus B10, and that's it. So I'm going to type this with the equal sign in this cell. Okay? So that's what's going to happen. Yeah, I need the room, so I'm not going to write it down. But this is what I'm going to type into this cell down here. And that's going to give me the total amount. Now, in order to get these percentages, right, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to divide each one of these by the total. Okay? Excuse me. So now, and I want them to be a percentage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, what? For this one, this is C3, right? So C3 is going to equal what? It's going to equal this cell divided by the total times 100 times 100 to get it into a percent, right? So it's going to be this divided by the total times 100. So it's going to be what? C3 is going to equal B3 divided by C11, or excuse me, B11 times, which in Excel uses the asterisk, times what? Times 100. Okay. And then likewise, for C4, I'm going to do something similar, right? So C4 is going to equal B4 divided by B11 times 100. So we use the slash mark, right? The backslash here for division in Excel. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing all the way down to C10. So C5 will equal B5 divided by B11 times 100. And then C6 will equal B6 divided by B11 times 100. And C7 will equal B7 times B11, or excuse me, divided by B11 times 100. So you see what the pattern is, right? Now, you're going to do this all the way down to C10 to get all of the percentages, right? So what does the total become? So if you do that, the total here is going to be 239,500. Okay, so B11 is going to give you this. And then if you put in the formulas for here, that's going to give you, in your spreadsheet, all you're going to see are the percentages. Okay? So you'll be typing these formulas into these cells, but when you look at the spreadsheet, all you're going to see are the numbers, right? Okay? And then there's a formula bar up here that if you click on the cell, you'll see the formula. You'll also see the formula in the cell as well. But again, that's incidental. Okay? So the main thing is how do we type these formulas into Excel? Okay, so far we're up to here. So now the only thing we need is to have the total percentage, right? So if these are all the categories and these are the percents that these make up, it should add up to 100, right? So let's do that. Well, the last one for C11, right? So if we go to C11, we want the sum of the percentages. So then C11 would equal C3 through C10. So you'd have C3 plus C4 plus C5 plus ... plus C10. Okay, or I'll just put it here. Okay. And that would give you the sum of these columns, which would add up to 100%. Okay. If it doesn't add up to exactly 100%, then something went wrong somewhere. Okay. So that's how you do it. That's how you would use a spreadsheet, an electronic spreadsheet like Excel, to fill in this table instead of using a calculator or pen and paper. Take care.